Stage. I hate that word. It's so scary. Okay, so I was recently reading in the Bible. Who reads the Bible every day? Who attempts to read the Bible every day? Okay, those that don't, read. Okay, so I've been reading, if you know me from Sunday school, I absolutely adore the Old Testament. Yes, my alumni and almost graduates. I think there's so much treasure and golden nuggets in the Old Testament that we often look past. And I really love to revisit the stories that we were told when we were little kids, and the images of the Bible books become rated R pictures in our minds as we grow up, because it was so rated R, the stuff that was happening in the Bible. I mean, God is just so raw with everything. And so I just wanted to share some, as I was reading, some things that struck me, and I'm going to be asking you guys a couple questions. So who remembers the plagues that God sent over Egypt? Let's name it off. So what was the first one? Blood. Okay, good. Frogs. Nice. Gnats. Locusts. Good job. Earthquakes. Well, it was actually hail, yeah, which was with earthquakes. Darkness. Death of the firstborn. There's a couple more you guys are missing. The frogs. Did we say the frogs? Yeah, we said the frogs. How about the stuff on the skin? Boils. Yeah, nice. Yeah, the flies. Did you guys say anything else about the livestock? Good. Okay, sweet. Yeah. So that was the 10 plagues that went through the land of Egypt. And so I was recently rereading those, and I was horrified by how these things were happening. And I was imagining it in Cleveland, and we thought COVID was bad, but imagine these 10 plagues just wiping all of Egypt, the way they make money, the way that they survive. I mean, their own families just being wiped out. So I wanted to read specifically to just remind you guys about it, because I remember in Sunday school, the small children's Bibles, there's cute little frogs everywhere. But then I'm reading the Bible, and it's the frogs, this is what the Lord says: they will come up out of the river and into your palace, and even into your bedroom and onto your bed. They'll even jump into your ovens and your kneading bowls. They will jump on you, and they will cover the whole land. So it's the invasion of frogs. And then we look at the gnats. So the gnats, they came out of the dust. So the dust will turn into swarms of gnats throughout the land of Egypt, covering the Egyptians and their animals. Then it was the flies. So the flies, it was such a, you know how they say, oh, be quiet, that we could hear one fly? Bzz. Imagine swarms of flies. That would drive us all insane. And so those flies, no fly will be on so the land was covered in flies, and it was in chaos. But we read that the Hebrew land, there was absolutely no flies. And so we see plague by plague that the Hebrews, the people of God, were truly set apart. They were not condemned or anything in any way. The hail, it was what the Word of God says, that it was thunder and lightning and hail flashed through the earth. Never in all of history of Egypt had there been such a storm that left Egypt in ruins. Hail struck down everything in open fields: people, animals, plants, and trees. So I'm beginning to imagine this in our own neighborhoods, my lovely trees, all of them just gone. Locusts came out of the ground so that you were not even able to see the ground. You didn't even know where you're stepping because it's just covered in locusts. And then the darkness, it was so dark that you could feel the darkness for 3 whole days. They couldn't even see each other, and no one even moved. And so talk about, we were singing in worship, how awesome you are. Talk about an awesome God, where, you don't read about this kind of stuff about other gods, but our one true God just totally defined animals and darkness and just how the sun moves and things like that. And so I just was so caught off guard and amazed by it. But then also I was this is so odd, all these frogs and flies, and why, God? Why all this random stuff? And in reading my study Bible, I began to see that God didn't just send these plagues by random. he actually was challenging the gods of the Egyptians. And so we see that God destroyed the livestock because he challenged the Egyptian god Hathor, the cow goddess. God destroyed the river, making it unsanitary, Nikki, to drink, and challenged the Egyptian god of the Nile. God sent darkness in the land to challenge Amon-Ra, the sun god. And so we see that God was challenging what the Egyptians believed in and who they placed their trust in. It was like a wrestling match, and God won plague after plague. Amon-Ra, the sun god, Hathor, Nile god, all these gods could not stand before our awesome God. And so it makes me like almost like tremble and really revere our God and how incredible he is. And so I began to think about it in my own life, like the different things that God challenges me in my own thinking. If there's something above God that tries to sneak up in my heart and take its place, God will challenge that because he is the one on the throne. Pharaoh isn't on the throne, God is on the throne. And because of Pharaoh's pride, it led to the downfall of not only his land, but the whole land of Egypt. There were no trees. All the livestock that were unprotected died. And so I began to think, like, how many times do we neglect or we avoid or take lightly what the Lord has done for us? Pride leads to downfall. And so consider your own relationships with the Lord. What measures does God take to get your attention? God desires all of you, not just part of you. You know, and we look at, so I don't want to like scare you guys by saying like God doesn't want to send 10 plagues into your life. But really, if you look at, there's God punishes, yes, for sin, but then also Satan attacks us. And then also, we live in a fallen world. So bad things are bound to happen. Sometimes there's just unknown reasons. So there's like different things why certain things happen. So don't just right away assume like God, he's punishing me. So just like I believe that in your own relationships with the Lord, you begin to really analyze and see like, okay, clearly the Lord is speaking to you. Because I know 2 situations. My brother got his car stolen, and then my cousin got her car stolen. And you can see like in those 2 situations, like my cousin, it was merely like unfrugalness, like she just kind of left it and went up quickly to just get a coffee and run back, and her car was stolen for a couple days. But then my brother, it was kind of like knock knock, the Lord's really calling on his heart, like wake up, like I want your attention and all of yours. And so in our lives, you were created for God and by God, not for any idols, and he desires you. And so because yeah, I want to fast forward to the New Testament as we look at the Saul's life in the New Testament. I mean, he was the biggest Pharisee. You know, he was fulfilling God's law. He was so convicted of it, but he didn't understand that Jesus came to fulfill the law, and now Jesus made all things new. And so on his way to kill the next Jesus follower, God catches his attention, strips his sight from him, and Jesus takes the throne out of his heart. We see that Saul becomes a new man and even is given a new name. Imagine if Pharaoh did that. You know, his nation wouldn't have probably been wiped out as hard as it did. And we see that through plague by plague, even the demonic magicians saw that, yes, this is the hand, the finger of God over all that's happening. And so I want you guys to go home and even right now think in your lives, what has been clearly the finger of God in my life? And the Lord will remind you of stories of, hey, you almost died at birth. You know, you almost got into a car crash here. And it's these things that God does not want you to just take merely or forget, but to really remember and write those things on your foreheads like the Lord taught the Israelites to do. And so we see that Jesus, he desires all of you, and he will challenge things that are trying to take that place that God is rightfully meant to have all of. And so Jesus, he died for you. In this time of Easter, when we're thinking about that, he didn't die for you to have a mediocre life. I am seriously jealous of Stacy. I'm like, please, Lord, ship me off to Poland. I want to go so badly. I mean, there is a time and place and purpose for everything, and you have responsibilities. And I'm like, Lord, like, I'll be praying over here, but do open up doors. And so, Jesus wants us not to live a life caught up in just your self-centered life. I was challenged this week. I'm like, Lord, what is really like, could idolize or something like that? And I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys. It's my completed to-do list. Oh my gosh, does that drive me in the week? I'm like, I have this much stuff to accomplish, and I'm going to get these things done. And it like blocks off space in my day to really hear what the Lord is trying to say in that very moment. Like, I'll have to go to the post office to send a package. I'll put that on my to-do list. But what if God is trying to use as that opportunity to be nice around the people around me? And so that was just one thing that I felt like, God, you are above it all. And so I want to make time and space for you, and consider and remember that as I walk through today's day, I want to hear your voice of what you're saying or doing to the people. We can just walk by life, reaching the next level. Okay, now I got my car, now I got my truck, now I got this and this. And you walk through life, and it's like, you come before the throne of God and you present your resume, and it's like, wow, you live the perfect American dream. But how about the Christian life that the Lord has called you to live? I mean, when we see that the plagues, even like I said, the demonic magician saw that this was the finger of God. But guys, we're marked on the fingers of Jesus in his palms. And that's the finger of God upon our life. If you literally look at the hands of Jesus, that was done for us. And so remember, that's what I'm saying, like the Easter time, begin to realize what the Lord has done for you. And so that's why it's like, it just really burdens my heart and makes me sad when we come to service and it's like, are you guys just faking a relationship with God? Like, if you're here to talk to your neighbor, please step out. If you're here to check up on your phone, like, you have 22 hours of the rest of the day to do that. What do you revere in your life? And if it's God, then, let that really be true. And in this, it's like, I don't want to cry. If he's really on the throne, I think it would be evident in all of our lives and everything that we do. But especially, I don't want to say this, but like really in church, But anywhere that I meet you guys, I hope you guys are living honest lives full of integrity. There was even recently something at work that happened. This broker, he owed us like $55, but that was also because of our fault of not submitting a payment in time. And he remembered that 3 or 4 months later. And we were like, wow, what a man of integrity. Wow. And it's like this kind of little stuff that like you're defined by those things. And so I want to encourage you guys and ask God for him to open up your eyes of a heart to love Jesus, to be sold out for Christ, and to keep him always on the throne, guys. And it takes work. It really does. And so I challenge you and your friends to make it a normal thing to talk about what the Lord has spoken to you, share different revelations. When me and Soph and Len come together, we literally share those things. Like, oh my gosh, we just read this in the New Testament, or about the plagues, and we just share about the plagues, and it's like, it's just a normal thing, but we really edify each other. And if you have friends that will challenge each other to remain on that path, that straight path, life with Jesus is so, so enjoyable. You wouldn't be here if you didn't at least believe that or believe in the Lord. And so I just want you to, as you can maybe think about the plagues or think about COVID, the Lord was really awakening up the church, really challenging us, like, what is life really about? Who do you trust? That's all I got from the Lord. Anton, I asked him this week what he's sharing on. So I'm like, I don't know if I want it to be kind of the same topic. And I was like, should I completely change what I'm saying? But he's going to be talking about the relationship with the Lord. So I think that goes pretty hand in hand.